Hello. Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the second pick a card reading that I have done here. Typically I do this kind of thing on Instagram, but I had a really good time last time, so I wanted to share a new deck with you today and a new beautiful source of wisdom. Today's pick a card reading is going to be using the Japanese Gods and Goddesses Oracle deck. I've had this deck for about 3 years now, and it is one that just has the most fresh energy to it. The creator of this deck actually went to the different locations across Japan where these gods and goddesses are enshrined and meditated to receive not only the messages on these cards, but also get instruction and guidance on the artwork that she created for them too. I think there's something so potent about advice and divine guidance from entities that are alive in a way of in the way of worship. Polytheism and animism are thriving around the world. So if you are a polytheist like myself, I highly recommend a trip to a country in Asia where polytheism or animism can be found. So we're gonna do this reading outside. I typically like to do my readings outside. However, I live in the city nowadays and it is really noisy. I also live next to a motorcycle gang, it turns out. So I will be doing these readings live outside. However, I'm going to do a voiceover recording so that you get clear audio and then a clear message without my, pauses and distractions for noise. So wherever you are in the world and in time, welcome to this video, and I hope that this message resonates with you. I hope it gives you the guidance that you're looking for. All right, here we go. So similar to the reading I did last time, which relied on flower associations for each card, I went ahead and did the same thing here. So whether you feel like you want to rely on being drawn to a specific card or a specific flower, that is up to you. So like I mentioned, this is the Gods and Goddesses of Japan Oracle deck by Yuriko Ono. My husband actually bought me this deck 3 years ago when we were dating. We were on a trip to Ise. Ise Jinja is one of the most holy places in Japan. It's very common for pilgrimage. It is the main enshrinement of Amaterasu. She's sort of the mother goddess and sun goddess of Shinto. I couldn't actually afford it at the time, so he said he had to go to the bathroom, and so I was waiting for him by this food cart, and he took forever to come back. When he came back, he told me that he was having some digestive issues. I was like, okay, whatever. It was on the train home back to our apartment in Japan when he finally revealed no, he just ran off to go back to that shop to buy me the deck of cards, and it was just the coolest surprise. The energy of this deck is so bright and alive. Like I mentioned before, I think when gods or entities are actively worshipped, when they have such ancient roots, but they're actively worshipped, there's something extra special about them. There's something very clear, they cannot be ignored. Their presence is very known. And I think Yuriko Ono did a great job communicating that energy in the artwork of these cards. So today's question that we're going to be posing to the Japanese gods and goddesses is about our inner alchemy. It's about the ingredients in our life that create the state of being that then supports our happiness and our satisfaction. Often we think we know what it is that we want or need in order to reach that state, but we're kind of misguided. We think, a new wardrobe or a new fling or a new job is going to solve this dissatisfaction, this riddle of who I am. Similar to when we're craving things like chocolate or sweets, we're actually wanting to feel loved. There's something behind those desires that we might be missing. So today's question for the gods and goddesses of Japan is, what is missing from my life? What is it really that I need? So what is really missing from your life? What is it really that you need? So take some time to examine the 3 cards and the 3 flowers before you and make that choice. All right, wildflower number 1, you have Toyokebime no Kami. So Toyokebime no Kami, she is the goddess who prepares meals for Amaterasu and the other gods in the Japanese pantheon. She is a chef and she creates food offerings, so her whole thing is soul food. She creates sacred out of nourishment. But a good meal isn't just good food, it's also the ambiance and it's the people that you share it with. This might be a little hard to hear, but it's time for you to make a big change in how you treat the things that you put in your body. And this especially goes for food, but it's not limited to it. So if you are somebody who uses substances like alcohol or cigarettes or different drugs, you may want to consider taking a break from those. If you are someone who uses other substances such as caffeine or certain kinds of herbal tea, you might want to make a change in how you consume those things in your life. If you've had your eye on a specific diet for a while, now is a good time to really examine what it is that's been maybe drawing you toward those things. This is not about weight loss. What Toyo Kebime no Kami is trying to say is that you need to treat your body, your physical body, as a reflection of whatever you put into your body. So maybe you're struggling because you live in a food desert. Maybe you can't afford the fresh fruits and vegetables you want to afford. Maybe you can't afford the locally sourced cuts of meat. That is completely understandable, but what you can do, what you do have control over, is making conscious choices over what you choose to eat and not to eat, and going for things that do make you feel good, make you feel strong, and make you feel at one with your body. There's a lot of things that we might consume because they make us feel good in the moment, or we eat them out of emotion. But Toyo Kebi no Kame is about, what is worth the gods? What foods are worth giving to the gods? And you yourself are divine. So what is really worth putting into your body? I highly recommend examining different herbal teas that might suit you. If you're a coffee drinker, maybe switching to a sugarless creamer would be good for a while. So the other aspect of Toyo Kebi no Kame is that she loves the ambiance around the meals, right? So we need to make a change, all right? So you are being called to make a big change in how you eat in general. So are you eating in front of your computer or your TV? Are you eating alone? Are you sharing meals with people that don't actually feed your soul? And maybe you should switch out who you're eating with, perhaps. If possible, try to organize a mealtime with friends or loved ones, virtually or in person, depending on your situation, and bring more joy and gathering energy around your consumption time, around when you eat. I'm also being told that you need to make a change in your eating routine, your consumption routine. So the image I'm getting is you waking up earlier in the morning to have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or just warm water with lemon, whatever that pick-me-up might be, alone by yourself, not looking at a screen. Taking more time in the quiet of the morning or maybe the quiet of the evening to be at one and to just be nourished. There needs to be more laughter and harmony and joy and good vibes around your food and your drink and what substances you use. There's definitely a staleness there, and it's such a big part of our lives, what we eat, that it's worth your attention from a spiritual level to decide, okay, how am I making this work for me and not against me? How am I in control? How am I treating myself well? How is food an offering in my life? If you don't cook, now is a really good time to invest maybe in a cookbook or maybe a couple tools and get in the kitchen. At the end of the day, this is all about embracing a more feminine side of yourself, being more receptive, examining in what ways your body does receive. Feminine energy is all about receiving. So how do you receive and thus create from that reception? What are you building in your body from what you take in? All these building blocks. Change does not have to be sudden. From this Wheel of Fortune card, I'm getting the vibe that it might be, that you might be in a situation where you encounter a health problem or a lifestyle problem or an access problem that's going to cause you to have to make a big change anyway. So maybe getting on top of that before you're forced into that, before it's discomforting, making the choice now to change your habits, to find something that really works for you, treat food as a way to honor yourself, drinks as a way to honor yourself. It's going to help because you don't want to hit this wall and be forced into a major lifestyle change when you're not expecting it or not prepared for it. Food habits are really hard to break. We get really comfortable with what we are consuming. The same goes for the substances that we consume, like cigarettes or alcohol. So putting yourself in control, one thing at a time, before you have to make that big change. It's going to be the key for you to make that alchemical happiness, that state of happiness that you've been seeking. This is the missing link. All right, so wildflower number 2. Your card is Iwanaga Hime, Iwanagahime is a stone goddess. She's the goddess who resides within stone, and she brings longevity and immortality to the gods. The support card here is the Hierophant. Iwanagahime is a very meditative goddess. She teaches us to stand firm in what we believe in, stand firm in our convictions, to stop letting our mind wander too much, to stick to good habits, to not fall off of them. Iwanagahime wants us to commit to that new exercise plan, right? To commit to that new morning routine, to commit to that new relationship, or giving that new job your all. But with the Hierophant here, your problem is you haven't really committed to a spiritual system that's going to work for you long term. Now, the spiritual system could be something like tarot or astrology. The spiritual system could be something more ancient, like a revitalized pagan path from the ancient world. It could be something living. It could be an ancestral tradition that you are reaching into. Whatever it may be, right now you have been off and on in your spirituality. You have been picking and choosing from different paths, picking and choosing from different specializations, and perhaps if you're doing magic, you might be picking and choosing between different paths of witchcraft. Whatever it might be, there's too much wandering, and what that does over time is it causes your mind and your energetic body to get used to just doing enough and just satisfying that initial curiosity, but not pursuing something to its full depth of knowledge. So Iwanagahime is magical stone, a spiritual stone. And when we think of that, we typically think of crystals or something like that. But Iwanagahime is the stone of the earth. And from the gods' perspective, the stones on earth, the tectonic plate movements, they are not rigid. They are slow moving, yes, but from their perspective as immortals, as eternals, that is more of like a meditative stance than a immovable one, right? So that's something that you need to take in your spiritual system, in your spiritual path. Are you committed? Are you standing firm? Are you meditating deeply on the concepts of these different traditions that you're interacting with? There's no guarantee that you're going to find the right spiritual system for you right off the bat, but the best way to know if something's right for you is to commit and give it your all. So whether you choose to do a year and a day, whether you choose to join a coven or choose a druid order or choose to apprentice with a priest, whatever it might be, it is time for you to take that step towards something that you're called to and commit to it fully. You want to teach your soul that there is more to your spirituality than just picking and choosing, than getting your toes in the water. And the truth is that that eclectic kind of approach does work for some people. For some people, that's exactly what they need in order to grow spiritually. That's not the case for you. You are being called towards something much more lasting. Much more like a monk going up the mountain, right, and spending decades finding the deepest truths of their practice. So that's your destiny here. So Iwanagahime also calls on you to spend more time outside, walking with your feet on the earth, meditating outside if you can. If you are more of a homebound person, if you are in your room a lot, it's maybe time to give that space a makeover. Wherever you spend a lot of your time, change it up to be a place that truly does inspire you and reflects you. And learn to commit to objects in your life. Only purchase things that you know you're going to keep for a long time. Keep things that you're going to love. And the same goes for your spiritual path. Maybe time to let go of crystals that don't serve you, any other magical objects, maybe books that you just know you're never going to get around to and belong with someone else. It's time to dive deeply into what makes you tick and what's going to feed your soul over time. So when I was talking about where this deck came from Amaterasu's Shrine, I had a feeling that she would show up in one of these 3 cards, so I was really pleased that she did, the third one. So Wildflower number 3, your card is Amaterasu, and she is supported here by the High Priestess. So typical of many sun gods and goddesses, she has a very cyclical story. Like many other sun gods and goddesses, she has a myth of retreating and then returning, representing that sunset and sunrise. However, more than other sun gods and goddesses, Amaterasu teaches that shadows are also her creation. When she illuminates, she's also choosing what not to illuminate, what to leave in darkness. And she also teaches that it's fine as it is. Not everything needs to be illuminated. So though Amaterasu is definitely a goddess of heavenly experience and joy, she recognizes that that is not all there is. You are someone who has experienced a lot of ups and downs in your life, and that has made you powerful. When you have looked into the abyss, when you have looked into shadow, you know how to alchemize it in yourself and turn it into sources of wisdom, sources of knowledge, sources of empathy for others and what they're going through. The High Priestess here is a sign that there is a very clear destiny for you ahead. Amaterasu is the highest goddess in the Shinto pantheon. She is the queen of all, and that means that there is definitely a destiny that's very high for you. I am inclined to say if you believe in any sort of spiritual entities or other realms, there is a very clear energy of a god or goddess who is very powerful, very strong, perhaps a mother goddess figure who has been looking out for you while you've been going through your ups and downs and is ready for you to now be initiated into something. You came to this earth with a purpose, and the trials that you've experienced in this life and in past ones has built you up to be a spiritual source of wisdom for other people. You are bound to be a teacher in your chosen path as you age. But right now, you need to take the first step on that. You're not going to grow to that point if you don't accept the initiation being handed to you. So Amaterasu's here to show you that it's not in your head, that there is definitely an energy that has been around you, been looking out for you. In order to connect to what the source of this is, if you're not quite sure, Amaterasu is teaching you that the light from the universe, the external sources off planet, are going to be the messenger for this for you. So that could be the sun, going and laying in the sun and taking in that energy. It could be at nighttime, gazing at the stars, studying the stars. If you're able to, purchasing or collecting meteorites. A good stone for you would probably be labradorite, as it is a reflection of sort of that cosmic Milky Way. By tapping into those sources of divine communication, you are going to be told exactly what it is that you need to be initiated into. It may come to you in a dream. It may come to you in a very vivid daydream, perhaps, but it's going to be very clear, and you will not have to have any doubts about what it is. Perhaps you already know, as I'm speaking, you might have an inclination about what it is that you might be going toward. That means it's already been revealed to you, and perhaps you ignored it before. Now is time to accept that invitation toward initiation into this world that you are going to eventually be a teacher of. Mastery is ahead of you, and your destiny is to share it with others, to use it as a healing power for others. The reason that you are not feeling complete right now, you're not feeling that full happiness, is because you are not on that path yet. You have been avoiding it, and it's time to accept that is your destiny, and you will find joy because it was a plan you made well before you were born on this earth. This is exactly what it is that you're here to do. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you hanging out. I'd love if you could leave a comment below and let me know how this reading resonated with you. Also, let me know if you'd like me to do more of these. I typically do this kind of stuff on Instagram, so it'd be really nice to know, like, should I be doing more of this on YouTube? Is it helpful? Is it working for you? If you're new here, feel free to stick around. I have some other videos that might be of interest. And if you're already a friend, hey, hi, hope you're doing well. Anyway, it was really good hanging out, and I will see you again soon. Bye! Take care.